He grinned as he opened the first plastic lid. "Man, these look great." Charlee planted her hands on her hips, but before she could light into him, her father stepped up behind her and wrapped her in a big hug. "How's my girl today?" He loosened his grip and stepped in front of her so he could study her face. He was as tall as Pete, but thinner and grayer these days. His eyes were anxious, which made her widen her smile. After her mother's stroke last year, Frank Tanner had enough on his plate without adding worry about her to the list. She reached up and kissed his leathery cheek. "I'm doing fine, Dad. Doing fine. Thanks for coming in today." Charlee had been running the family business since she resigned as a Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission officer last year, but her father ran the office when she took groups out on the river. The bell above the door jangled, and Charlee shook her head as her other brother, Josh, sauntered in, a handful of pink roses in one hand. Even in his khaki FWC uniform, he looked like he'd just stepped out of the pages of a magazine, hence the nickname Hollywood. He was ruggedly handsome, never a blonde hair out of place, and women fell all over themselves for one of his dimpled grins. He stepped over and gave her a one-armed hug, handed her the flowers. "Thought you'd enjoy these." She raised a brow, sent him a teasing grin. "Been raiding Mom's rose garden again?" He shrugged, his eyes steady on hers, his worry obvious. She buried her face in the flowers and refused to meet his gaze. He'd always been able to read her too easily, and somehow, in the 6 months since pancreatic cancer had taken his fiancée, Elaine, he'd gotten even better at it. But she wouldn't let him. Not today. When he finally gave up and headed for the cupcakes, Charlee let out a relieved breath. At that moment, Charlie's youngest sibling, Natalie, stumbled into the office, yawning. "I smell coffee." Then her eyes popped all the way open. "And cupcakes!" She spun around and wrapped Charlee in a giddy hug. "I knew you'd have cupcakes today." Charlie's temper spiked. Pete had shanghaied Natalie, too? "Why aren't you at school?" Natalie's dorm at the University of Florida was more than an hour away. Natalie ducked her head as she poured coffee. "I had some time, so I stayed over last night." She pulled out a newspaper. "Besides, I wanted to show you the article in the Gainesville Sun. The Corner Cafe made the new eateries to check out list, and your cupcakes were one of the main reasons why. It's not every day one of my totally lame siblings gets media attention." The minute the words slipped out, Natalie froze, a horrified expression on her face. I'm sorry, I mean..." Last year's nightmarish headlines flashed through Charlie's mind, but she pushed them firmly away. She sent Natalie a smile and then eyed the rest of her family. "Look, guys, I appreciate what you're trying to do, I really do, but..." The old-fashioned bell over the door chimed. A prickle of awareness slid over Charlie's skin, and she knew without turning that Hunter Boudreau had just sauntered in. Pete's longtime Marine Corps buddy, Josh's newly appointed FWC lieutenant, and the one man who had breached Charlie's self-imposed isolation over the past 6 months. He had coaxed her back into going four-wheeling in the forest, showed up with pizza, beer, and an action movie on Saturday nights, and engaged her in witty banter and made her laugh. Best of all, he never asked about what had happened last year, so she could let her guard down and be herself. Charlee watched Pete, Josh, and Hunter exchange measured looks, so different from their usual camaraderie. Josh's chin came up, and he slipped on his mirrored sunglasses without